What's up, YouTube? Welcome back. So Ruger just released a couple days ago their 5.7 Carbine. Pretty cool if you like 5.7. They have a 5.7 handgun that this would match up perfectly with. You can use the same magazines and hey, everything is good to go. I mean, there is really good advantages to having your ammo in your handgun match your ammo in your rifle. That's the whole thing about the pistol caliber carbine thing. 9mm is a very good example of always having the same ammo with you, and you can stuff a lot of 9mm ammo into some of these magazines and keep these long stick magazines on your person and not have to worry about big bulky things and fumbling around with different type of mags. They're all interchangeable. But what is the point of this cartridge? I'm not trying to pick, I'm asking a legitimate question. The rifle looks cool, the pistol looks cool. FN 5.7 pistol has always been kind of a ugly monster to me. I've had them in my hand. I've shot this round and it's not impressive to me. It's a burner. It smokes. It goes fast. I mean, it's a straight shooter. It's a flat shooter. It has no recoil. And out of the 5.7, it really has no recoil out of the FN 5.7. Now the Ruger, I don't know about that one. And any of the rifles like the P90, or I think it's the P90 that this comes out of, that's foreign to me. I don't understand that. I don't really know what this is for other than tactical use. Let's just be honest. Let's have a frank discussion about the 5.7. So you have your 5.56 and you have your 5.7. Now, I'm going to put them down on the table and I'm going to line up with some other calibers and you're going to see a major difference here. So starting on the left, you have the Boss 308. That's long range, that's hunting, that used to be, in man-sized guns. That was a battle caliber. We don't use that anymore. There's your AK round right there, 7.62 by 39. Right here you have your 223 green tip. This is a military round. This is typically what ARs were known for until they've chambered them in everything but 5.56 or 223. And then you have your FN 5.7, both of these. This is just a blue tip version and this is an open tip version. So you can see a significant size difference. Now what's this one I have laying over here? It's not a 22 long rifle, but it is a 22 Magnum. And I put it there just so that you can see the difference here in the case really isn't that much. We know that the projectile is both going to be close. However, the case size, you're not dealing with a whole lot more case capacity. The 5.56 compared to the 5.7, you have a ton of case capacity increase, I believe, here. AK and 308 or 7.62 by 51, of course, we're just increasing. And we're increasing projectile size once we get to this one and this one. But for the most part here, we're dealing with 22 caliber projectiles. Now, what am I getting at with all this right here? Well, basically I'm getting at this caliber right here, the 5.56 or the 223, is what happened because this couldn't be handled anymore in battle rifles. Our military transitioned down to this smaller caliber because we weren't shooting as long. We weren't shooting bolt action guns or smaller capacity guns. We wanted heavy firepower. We wanted to concentrate it. We wanted to go up against things like AK in Vietnam. We wanted to be able to put a lot of lead down range. And let's face it, our infantry soldiers are not what they were in World War II. It's not the same person as World War I, World War II, Korea. Once we entered Vietnam, we were dealing with some smaller statured people that got drug into war. They're not, I don't know how to say it. They didn't grow up shooting the old powerful bolt action hunting rifles, so they just weren't used to it. Nowadays, they're pulling people off the streets for the military that have no experience with firearms at all. And I'm not trying to create a crap storm here, but a lot of very small statured people and a lot of women, and they just want them to be able to shoot this round proficiently. The 5.56 is hard enough for some people to shoot. So they don't want anything like a 308 anymore. They're done with that. But we should be able to handle the 5.56. It was made for everybody to be able to handle. And they make weapons now that you can really tune down to have no recoil between silencers or suppressors, whatever you want to call them. And then you have different types of brakes. You have all different ways to configure the gas systems in the gun. And you can make these things very soft shooters to where they're just like laser beams. You can look to the red dot, you can fire around, and the red dot barely moves. You can take your follow-up shots. You can, like I said, with a suppressor, you're dealing with a little bit of mitigation of recoil, and you're dealing with mitigation of sound. So why would we want to go to anything less? Why would we want to go down to this? What is this for? I'm just throwing it out there. Sure, it's softer shooting. Sure, it's maybe like, it's less recoil, less noise, maybe less flash. Sure, quicker follow-up shots. But okay, if we're going to do that, then why aren't we running 22 Magnum? Why don't we just run a really cheap round? Right now, currently, I have a note in front of me. Steel case 223 right now can be found for 36 cents a round. Brass case 223 can be found for 39 cents a round. 65 cents a round is what you're going to pay for every single 5.7 round that you buy. So yeah, it's real fast and real fun and real cool, but you go through them that much quicker. Is it a practice round? Is it a target round? Is it a varmint round? Is it really a self-defense round? Is it an offensive round? I'll try to wrap all that up here real quickly. Do I think it's a varmint round? It could be, but that's not what it was designed for, and there are much better varmint rounds out there. Trust me. Rimfire or centerfire, there's much better varmint rounds. Is it a fun practice round? I mean, I guess it's an expensive practice round, and you have to buy dedicated firearms for it, or conversions, or different uppers. So I don't know, what are you practicing for? Why wouldn't you just practice with what you're going to use? And if you're going to use a 223, then use a 223. Now, if you want to go ahead and say it's a good round for self-defense because it's light recoiling and this and that, why don't you just go with 9mm? 9mm out of rifles is very powerful, makes big holes. The velocity increase is significant with a longer barrel. And same thing, magazine compatibility. You can run Glock mags and all different kinds of mags in these 9mm uppers. It just makes sense to use 9mm. Why mix around your ammo? Are you going to use it for hunting anything? No, not really. It's not a varmint round, but it's also not a hunting round. Is it an actual viable self-defense round? I wouldn't want to use it for self-defense. I mean, can you score a bunch of little hits on somebody? Yes, but are we talking about hits that have big foot-pounds of energy impact? No. These are 29, 40 grain bullets. I'm just looking at two very common offerings right now. We have a 40 grain bullet traveling at 2,034 feet per second, and we have a 27 grain bullet traveling at 2,132 feet per second. You're not going to have a whole lot of foot-pounds with that. And when I say not a lot of foot-pounds, I'm comparing it to actual rifle cartridges. If you want big foot-pounds in a handgun, then 40 caliber, 9mm, 45, 10mm, they're all very sufficient, even 38. This thing has been known to go ahead and pierce things. And I get that there's a certain want, or people feel there's a need to want to be able to pierce armor. Well, I'll tell you what, they're developing armor rapidly now to defeat anything. So this stuff isn't going to work on much armor for much longer, even if it does work on armor. You have to sometimes get special bullets that we're not really supposed to have as non-law enforcement or military. So to even get that ammo is a little questionable, and why bother though? You're talking about a 40 grain projectile that might make it through armor. And what's it going to do once it gets through that armor? It's a 40 grain projectile. Whoever is using armor probably has an offensive firearm that they're using against you, and you're shooting back at them with the equivalent of a BB gun penetrating armor maybe. It'll get through it, but what's left of it? A BB gun basically is what you're hitting people with. So, shot placement, defeating armor in different ways, there's all that has to do with it. But the answer, I don't believe, is in this little teeny tiny expensive specialty cartridge. Now, where this cartridge did shine, there is a pro to this cartridge. And it's not what me and you or most people can have. It's a military and law enforcement type of cartridge. It's made to go into a machine gun, and it's made to go really, really fast. That way, when you enter a room or you're breaching whatever, you're doing tubular breaching, whatever it is they're using this for, if the person might be wearing some kind of armor, they can get through some of this armor with special ammo. But the way they get through armor and the way that they defeat their opponent and they have a good impact on it is that they're dumping 40 rounds on somebody in a split second. They're putting up a rifle that just eliminates a magazine as fast as it can go pretty much, and you're dumping 30, 40, 50 rounds of this stuff into somebody. That's how it works. It's getting hit with a bunch of bee stings all at once, and that's what does the trick. But out of a single shot pistol or out of a single shot rifle, I really don't think it's that worth it. I've heard one more thing where this could be viable, and I kind of might tend to think, okay, there's kind of a point there, and that's armored car drivers. You might be attacked by somebody if you're an armored car driver or a guard in the back of a truck. You're a person that transports money back and forth. Somebody coming at you in that position probably is going to expect a possible shootout. They know you're wearing body armor. They're probably wearing body armor if they have any brains whatsoever to initiate that type of attack. So maybe you would want a high capacity handgun that could penetrate their armor. Again, what's going to happen once you get through that armor? I'm not sure. So you guys let me know in the comment section, realistically, what do you think this cartridge is good for? Do you think that this carbine is something that you're going to actually want to pick up? Do you have pistols to match it? Would you ever want, to use this in a defensive manner? Do you have these set up for home defense? Tell me what you think. Not trying to knock the caliber, but I'm just kind of trying to call out the deficiencies of the caliber, and I don't understand the popularity of the caliber. And I don't know if it's just popular because people think it's cool or because there's actually a real good use for this and people are using it all over the place, and I just don't know about it. I never see it really getting shot at the range other than a handful of rounds out of a handful of guns here and there, but nobody ever seriously brings it to class or anything. I've never seen anybody run this. I've seen hundreds of people come to rifle classes, and I've never seen this run in a rifle class, ever. And I've never seen somebody use it as a sidearm. Thank you for watching this video, and until we see you next time, stay safe, have fun, and keep shooting.